Hello everybody and welcome back to Starcraft 2. Today we have another replay from the Shoeshine Fight Night, which is in the Shoeshine Discord. And if you would like to join, anyone's able to. There will be a link in the description below. However, today we have the Red Terran, SunnyD, on the bottom left of Old Republic. And up here at the top right, we have the blue Protoss, newbie to StarCraft. Now, PvT is easily my favorite matchup. I absolutely love participating in this matchup, whether I'm Protoss, whether I'm Terran, doesn't matter. And I want to go ahead and point something out. This is the spot where Reapers are going to get in. So if I had to guess, this gateway is already blocking the potential of where Reapers are able to enter the base. And frankly, I love it. Very good. I like to see that kind of thing. We're already thinking about what the Terran player is going to be doing. Terran, pretty standard so far. We're just going to go ahead and block that ramp with the barracks and probably another supply depot. Of course, there's a chance he could fly this over and then just use the add-on as part of the wall. Something you have to worry about, though, is them, using stalkers and things to kill the tech lab that inevitably comes down. That has your stim, your combat shield, whatever else there may be. We are going to be taking the Reaper, or going for the Reaper, and there we go. We have a full block here. That's actually amazing. Now, they can still use this area as well, right? It's a full block, not gonna happen. But to get this blocked off is a very smart play, knowing those Reapers are probably on the way. Nexus is down, CC is down, very standard on both ends, going for a quick expansion. I think this is one of the reasons I like this matchup so much, is both the Terran and the Protoss are able to expand and macro a little bit more safe than if they were fighting a Zerg, just because it's like, who knows what the Zerg and stuff could be doing. Whereas with Terran and stuff, it's a little bit easier to actually pay attention to what they're doing, react to it. The SCV did go down, by the way. Full probe pull for that. I don't think it's worth it, especially because I think he already scouted the Twilight, but is what it is. Reaper now going to do a little dancing up and down. The Adept's going to come down here and actually potentially get a hit off on the Reaper. Nope, a little too slow. The Reaper probably trying to go up here, and then it did weird pathing, and if I had to guess, SunnyD is either unaware of why it did weird pathing, or didn't try at all. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't see either way. Oh my gosh, this is so scary, SunnyD. SunnyD, if there are Adepts on the field, be careful. All they got to do is snipe this SCV. And once this SCV is sniped, your bunker's not finished. And even though you're building Marines, the Adept's just going to kill the Marines. So you have to be careful. Reaper now going to try to go back. Again, he's probably confused why this won't go. Wants to try to go into the natural here. Adept's in the way. So pretty good defense here from newbie to SC. SunnyD playing a little bit more risky. Honestly, slightly behind in macro, in my opinion. Getting some Marines in there. I will say another reason this is scary, this bunker, is it's a little far forward. When it's this far forward, if something runs by, it has free reign of this entire area, including going up the ramp without taking any damage. The better option is if you just take this bunker and you move it like here even, you're going to be defending your SCVs like up to here, and you're going to be defending that ramp. Whereas with it out here, again, if they can get by, which in this case they did not, then yeah, it's not really going to be able to help. We do have, I didn't notice this, by the way, 3 Widow Mines, or not Widow Mines, freaking, what are these called? Yeah, they're Widow Mines. I've been watching so much Brood War that I'm like losing my mind. Okay, in this freaking medevac though, and it's gonna come up here, and I don't think there's anything here to deal with it yet. We are going straight for the Warp Prism. Do we have an observer on the field? We don't have an observer. We've mostly got Zealots and Immortal and more Zealots. So this is actually going to do a significant amount of damage. Let's hope that a observer comes out of this very, very soon. Oh, goodness. SunnyD not sending it in quite yet. Doing a little bit of moving around in the base first. And here we go. What are these called? They are Widow Mines. Okay, they're immediately going to get burrowed. Oh, that's so many probes! Bro. No, 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 no. Sunny, leave them. Sunny, leave them. They're so cheap. Sunny, they're so cheap. Sunny, you leave these here. One, they're cheap. Doesn't even matter. Two, it just adds pressure. He's scared. He doesn't want to leave those there. However, I'm so sorry. I didn't see the Protoss forces moving across the map. The Zelds do get in onto the bunker, and that's a very fast charge. They're unfortunately going to click on the rocks instead of actually moving towards the Terran units. However, the wall is in position and doing what it does best. But we see the wall get lowered temporarily for some reason. The SCVs are here to repair. Oh, no, 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 newbie. Just stay up here. Just stay up here, newbie. Do as much damage as you possibly can to all these SCVs and things. Even if you're just using the Adepts and the Immortal to deal damage to this, it's so worth it. This tank is even close enough to the ramp that the Immortal could murder this tank right now. But regardless, it doesn't matter. If we go back up here, we did drop the Widow Mines again, killing even more probes. Just leave them here. SunnyD, leave them here and stop microing them. Go back to your base. Leave them. Your APM is needed elsewhere. We have a huge supply block here for SunnyD. No units are being produced. And newbie gonna leave. Now, I'm actually okay with newbie leaving in this case. Don't do this. Guys, if you're gonna do a supply drop, do it on a safe depot, like this one. Don't do it on a wall. This is like a pet peeve of mine. Don't put these on walls, guys. Anyway, Protoss can go back here. I really feel like the Protoss needs to just make a Nexus right now. The Protoss could really easily just make a Nexus and an Observer. Please make an Observer, for the love of God. You have the robotics facility, make an Observer. But if we just take this, there's not really anything they're going to be able to do about it. So you can get a free expansion and you'll get your probe count much higher. Which is great. SunnyD still putting APM into this freaking medevac. Cannon's finishing up, going for the Colossus. Got mules coming out. The mules are going to be extremely useful. Mules are worth... Gosh, I remember I wanted to use this statistic in another replay and I forgot. They're worth like, I think it's 8. I think it's 8 SCVs. I might be pulling that number out of my ass though. It's been a while. Warp Prism just kind of sitting down here. I don't know if he's wanting to do a warp in or what. Got a Colossus on the way. Or just one Colossus. Are we going to go for a second? So far, no. Of course, to be fair, he just now has enough money. Still no. Okay, that's fine. Still haven't taken the gases on the natural. You have full saturation pretty much in the main. I mean, we're going to move a couple over to this gas. But if you've got full saturation in the main, and almost full saturation here, we should at least have one of these gases. We should have at least one of these gases at this point. Honestly, there's even an argument for both, but we're going to be pretty low on gas. So we're going to be mostly focused on Zealots at this point. Does look like we have Marines and a Widow Mine kind of moving out to the middle of the map. Not sure. Taking our third base with the command center here. Not sure what this depot's for. I'd be careful. You got blocked one, SunnyD. Make sure you're putting those in good positions. Now, the Warp Prism is going to get seen. We're even going to see a stim to try to get it killed, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to quite get it. However, we're going to bring the Widow Mines over. Oh, you probably could have killed at least one of those Widow Mines. Oh, but instead, the Widow Mines do go off, and it does kill all the units. Oh, no, 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 just get out of there. He's going to try to warp in, decides not to, which is the right call. Needs to get that Warp Prism out of there. And SunnyD is going to hold this off for now. And look. Ah, guys, focus on your macro. Focus on your macro as best you can. Oh, goodness. We are going heavily into Colossus, which is good. Do we have Blink? Okay, we don't have Blink. We have Charge. I would say... What's our money at? Pretty low, actually. And this is even starting to mine out. This is mining out. And we don't even have workers on our third. We've really, really, really got to focus on our macro. I know we've lost a lot of probes to the Widow Mines and stuff, but your macro might actually be putting you way behind the Terran at this point. Because you had a really good opportunity to get a Nexus down and just really catch back up economically. But a lot of that APM went into things that didn't quite get anything done. SunnyD gonna go ahead and pick up with the Medivacs. Again, just so anyone is in case anyone is unaware, low-level Terrans, the scans are essentially just showing you exactly what's about to happen. Now, in this case, it did scan the third and he's going for the main, but still, it should definitely let you know that something's happening. The drop is going to be happening here in the main, and there's not quite anything here to deal with it. This is going to do a lot of damage. Now, we're going to have to decide what he decides to go for. At the moment, it looks like he's going to be going for mostly the probes, but of course, we do have cannons causing a little bit of issues as well. And then DT Warpin actually gets a lot of those killed. A lot of the Terran army went down there. A lot of attack and aggression from these guys. Third base almost saturated here. Main almost completely empty. We're starting to mine out in the natural. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. If one of you would just focus on macro, you'd be so far ahead. So we have a mostly Zealot Colossus army here with a couple of sentries for that Guardian Shield. Also, putting that Warp Prism on the same hotkey. Be careful with that. I mean, you do you. If you can make it work, make it work. I highly recommend putting the Warp Prism on a second hotkey, though. We do have a counterattack waiting up here, so even if he reveals this army and he does potentially get a base, this army could do a lot depending on what the Warp-In status and the pylon situation is for our Protoss player. Finally going to take a fourth. Terran is ahead on bases. That's so bad for the Protoss. The Protoss is going to run in here with a mixture of DTs and Zealots and the Colossi. All of these supply depots are moved forward. The counterattack situation, where is it? Did he F2? I think he F2'd the army back. So because the army came back, there isn't a counterattack, which means that the third was gutted. I don't know if he's aware that this fourth is here, because that's pretty much free picking. He is going to go for the throat, which means that, unfortunately, he is going to trade out a lot of his army here. And the problem with this is there's a lot of expensive Protoss units here, so trading the army is really, really risky. It's not necessarily going to end in a defeat. Oh, God, that's one Colossus down. Oh, gosh. You have to be so careful. You have to be so careful whenever you actually fight with armies, whenever you're Protoss. You need to win pretty decisively, because taking trades against Terran and Zerg usually is beneficial for them. Now, not always. I'm not going to sit here and tell you every trade is going to be beneficial for the Terran or Zerg, but as you can see, we only have 2 Colossus now and a bunch of Zealots versus this giant mixed composition of the Terran. Now, to be fair, it's not giant, but it's going to be hard for that composition that he has to deal with it. I do think SunnyD being a little bit aggressive here on the counterattack. I'd like to see this third go back down, maybe even take a fifth. I think the lesson today is aggression can be a little bit too distracting whenever you're in the lower leagues. Really focus on that macro, guys. All right, here we go. We have the Terran coming into the third base of the Protoss. However, we have a battery shield and we have some cannons. Lots of ghosts. So we have a couple of Widow Mines, not really able to do much about the Zealots. There's just not enough Terran units here. So in this case, it really was for the Protoss there to just get as much damage done to the Terran army as possible, because SunnyD, a little too aggressive for the units he has available. And because that poor trade, now Newbie is going to start moving his way across the map. Whenever we're sitting on an almost mined out main, an oversaturated natural, and no gases and no gases on the fourth here. We do have a bunch of Archons, which I imagine was a huge DT warp-in. Personally, I like to see those high Templar, especially when we have such a bio-focused Terran. We're going to immediately go in. We have a scan to make sure there are no DTs here. Terran army is looking a lot more scary than the Terran army. Terran army moved, or Terran Ghost moved forward, I assume, to try to get some EMPs off, but I didn't quite see any EMPs. Terran gonna take the trade for the third and leave. Try to deal with these Vikings. Now, I don't know. Is Newbie gonna go for the throat here? I feel like the best thing Newbie could do is check for this base, because if he checks for this base, it's dead. And then he's got a huge lead. Even with the weird economics of this game, if you just take this out, all of a sudden Terran is screwed. Like, look, that was his main. This is officially his main's command center. So the Terran is kind of like living off drops right now. Very little sustenance. If you look at the production tab, we've got more Colossus on the way. We got that, I think that's +3. I'm almost pretty sure that's +3. Coming in for the Protoss on the weapons. And Protoss, again, gonna take another engagement. Here's the thing, there's not a lot of Protoss units, but there's a ton of tier 3 Protoss units, which is gonna be hard to deal with. These siege tanks are gonna get their value in gold here, at least against the Zealots at the very least, but another command center goes down here. And because the command center goes down once again, SunnyD does decide to tap out, bringing Newbie to SC to victory here. Good job to both players. I think you both played well from like an aggressive standpoint. I think it made your macro really suffer, but at the end of the day, it was a good game, and honestly, proud of you both. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and see you in the next replay.